The United States says the number of Central American migrants trying to cross its southern border dramatically declined during the last quarter of 2014 and through the first couple of months this year. Immigration analysts say the drop is due to Mexico's efforts to confront child migration. CCTV's Frank Contreras joins us now from Mexico City with more. Frank.
Thanks, Elaine. Yes, as you'll recall, this time last year, U.S. President Barack Obama was declaring an immigration and humanitarian crisis coming from Central America. So many, especially underage children, crossing the border or attempting to cross the border into the United States. That means they had to pass through Mexico. But all that has changed in the past year. That's largely because Mexico has been detaining more Central American minors and thus deporting them before they get to the U.S.
Brian Alexander Valladares migrated to southern Mexico from El Salvador. He's 16 years old. Valladares says gang members back home beat him and tried to force him to join their ranks. They killed his cousin. He says traveling through Mexico is also dangerous.
Many people try to assault you and take away your money. Passing through the cities, people hit you if you come without money.
Valladares wants to reach the U.S. state of Texas, where his sister lives. He's tried this difficult journey before and says the Mexican government's migration crackdown makes it even more difficult.
You run into risk if you go out and try to buy clothes, because the immigration agents are disguised as civilians.
U.S. border officials say Mexico's effort to deport undocumented migrants has resulted in a decrease in the number of underage Central Americans attempting to enter the U.S.
In 2015, between January and June, we rescued nearly 11,900 migrants. 6,000 were unaccompanied minors.
Officials point to a link between gang violence and poverty in Central America as a reason for the flow of child migrants. And as long as there's widespread poverty and insecurity, experts predict the migrants, many of them children, will keep on coming.
As you'll recall, up until recently, Mexico was the major migrant-sending nation from Latin America. It appears that when 2009's global economic crisis hit, that changed everything. It became less viable for Mexicans to go north, but still the poverty that exists in Central America is what is pushing so many people north from that region, Elaine.
And Frank, with Mexico returning so many migrants to their Central American homelands, do many want to stay in Mexico?
Well, because of all this that we're reporting now at this moment, you can hear that there's some really new tendencies taking place in the migration patterns from this part of the world. And yes, there are an increasing number of Central Americans who are appearing to want to seek asylum here in Mexico. They're claiming that they're facing abuses by authorities in some cases, and in other cases, they've been robbed or harmed physically, and so they turn to the Mexican government. At this stage, there appears to be no solid statistics available to be able to tell you what kind of numbers we're talking about, but it is a brand new tendency that appears to be taking form here as the migration patterns shift in this part of the world, Elaine.
All right, Frank Contreras live for us in Mexico City.